In this lesson, we're going to take a quick overview of the Softimage interface and how to import geometry and move cameras. If you already understand how to use Softimage, you can skip this lesson, but this lesson is useful if you perhaps use another 3D application and want to start using Softimage. So here is what our default Softimage interface looks like. Depending on your settings, when you open up Softimage, you might get a window that looks like this. If you do, all you need to do is click New Scene and you'll start here. So let's begin by importing some geometry. So to do this, there's a few ways we can do it. We can go up to File, Import, and then as you can see, there's a variety of different types we can do. Now we can also go over to Crosswalk and import in FBX. So this is a common file type to use between Autodesk applications such as Maya and 3ds Max. So I'm just going to click Import FBX. And if I jump over to our project files, you can see we've included an FBX that we exported from another external application. So I'm just going to jump to that folder here, and let's select our FBX and click OK. And now it's going to ask us if we want to change any settings, but we just want to leave these as default and click OK. Now it's going to go through, process it, and turn it into Softimage objects. So Softimage's interface is pretty modular. We can, of course, move these around and view different things. I double-clicked right there on the center divider, and if we want to get back to that, we can click on this button on the top right here, or click down here to get our 4 panel views back. Now if we want to focus on just a single viewport, we can of course click this in the top right, and that will only show that single view. Now let's say we want to see this shaded. Well, we can do that by left clicking on this wireframe here and jumping down to shaded. Now we can switch between the last 2 modes we used here by middle clicking. So if we need to ever jump back to wireframe, we can middle click and then middle click back to shaded mode. Now let's take a look at how we can move around our scene. So Softimage is something called an interaction model. And if you go to File, Interaction Model, you can set this to either the Softimage default or to Maya. If you set this to Maya, you can use all of your all of the usual Maya hotkeys and shortcuts to move around. I'm going to be using the Softimage because there are a few things that are slightly more difficult to get to when not using the Softimage interaction model. But if you're coming from Maya, you probably want to switch this to Maya so it's easier to use. So to move our camera, we can hold or hit the S key, and our icon will change to this almost crosshair, and now we have access to the camera movement controls. So if we left click and drag, we're going to dolly or pan around the scene. So this is moving left and right and up and down. Now if we want to rotate or orbit, we can right click, and now we can turn or move our mouse to orbit around our scene. Now if we want to dolly or zoom in, we can middle click and drag in or drag down to move in and drag up to move back. Now we can also use the middle mouse wheel scroll if you have one. To get out of this, we need to either hit the S key again or hit the space bar. And we'll be getting into that more in the next lesson. So before we end this, there's a few more things we need to do. First, we should probably create a new project. Now the project inside of Softimage is where everything is stored. Our scene files, our textures, any kind of particle cache, all sorts of things. So we want to make sure to set one so we're not saving everything either in random places or in our exercise samples project. So to create a new project, we can go to File and New Project. Now we'll see if we click Save right now, we would be saving it inside of this install path. Now of course we could move to a different directory, but it would not be as good as creating a new project and then saving it under our new project. So let's cancel that out, go to File, New Project, and we just need to give this a name. So I'm going to call this our ICE project, and we need to give it a location. So I'm just going to go back to where my project files are and select it. So we're going to the, we can go back here and go up one and select the project files folder. And of course, you probably want to store this on your own local drive. And let's click OK. And now Softimage is going to go in and it's going to set our project to our new ice project. And so now if we click save, it's going to save inside of these scenes inside of our new project. So I'm just going to call this 05 imported geometry. Click OK. And now we have our scene file saved with our project. Okay, so in this lesson we learned how to import geometry from another application by either using the import for something like an OBJ or using crosswalk for something like an FBX. And we learned how to move our camera and change our interface around by using these sliders here and this button in the top right to maximize a viewport, how to change between shaded and wireframe mode, as well as all these other display modes, and how to move around our camera by either holding the S key and left clicking, right clicking, or middle clicking and dragging, or by tapping the S key to lock in our controls. So in the next lesson, we'll learn more about this interface, drop in an object, and learn how we can use the control panel over here to move our object around.